For over a decade, we've watched them. The Brown family, a sprawling, complicated, and often chaotic tableau of one man, 4 wives, and 18 children. We've been invited into their homes, we've witnessed their births, their weddings, their bitter fights, and their heartbreaking goodbyes. We've seen them build houses, tear down relationships, and move across the country in search of a plural paradise that always seemed just out of reach. But what if the story we were sold was only half the truth? What if behind the arguments about lot lines, the tears over family culture, and the endless debates about a one-roof solution, a much darker, more calculated drama was unfolding? A drama not about faith or family, but about cold, hard cash. They were all stars of the show. They all put their lives on display for the world to see, but they weren't all getting paid like it. Not even close. Tonight on COCO Gossip, we expose the scandal that is about to rock the foundations of the Sister Wives empire to its very core. This isn't about favoritism anymore. This is a story of calculated deception, corporate greed, and a secret contract that allegedly siphoned millions of dollars away from the women who helped build the brand. Get ready, because the TLC contract heist is about to be blown wide open. Before we dive into the explosive court documents and insider testimony, if you believe in uncovering the truth and you want to stay ahead of the biggest reality TV scandals, do me a favor. Take 1 second, hit that like button, and subscribe to COCO Gossip. Turn on your notifications, because you are not going to want to miss a single update on this developing story. Your support helps us dig deeper and bring these exclusive reports to light. Thank you. Now, let's get into it. To understand the bombshell that's just been dropped, we have to go back. For years, viewers, the smart, intuitive viewers like you, have been pointing out the glaring inconsistencies. The math, as they say, was not matching. We saw Janelle, a woman who has worked and contributed her entire adult life, living in an RV on a barren patch of land, struggling to make ends meet. We saw Meri, the first wife, hustling her LuLaRoe business and running her bed and breakfast, seemingly funding her entire life independently. We saw Christine, before her triumphant escape, talking about the financial strain, the need to raise money for her daughter Isabel's surgery, a situation that left fans absolutely bewildered. How could a family starring in a hit television show for over a decade be in such a precarious financial position? And then there was the other side of the coin. We saw Kody and Robyn living in a sprawling $1 million home with a 5-car garage and a forested backyard. We saw them hiring nannies and assistants. We saw a lifestyle that seemed completely disconnected from the financial realities the other wives were facing. For years, the official explanation was that Kody and Robyn had more young children at home, that their expenses were higher, that the family pot was being distributed fairly, but it just never felt right. Fans have long theorized that Robyn's spending habits were draining the family resources, that Kody was funneling money to his favorite wife. But the theories, it turns out, may not have been dramatic enough. The reality, as alleged in a recent unrelated court filing, is infinitely more shocking and methodical than any of us could have imagined. This wasn't just a case of a husband mismanaging funds or a favorite wife getting the lion's share. According to our insider sources and a close reading of documents unearthed in Discovery, this was a deliberate 2-contract scheme designed from the ground up to create a secret parallel income stream for Kody and Robyn alone. So, how did this all come out? You might be thinking one of the wives finally sued, Christine or Janelle or even Meri, but the truth is more complex. The source of this revelation is a civil lawsuit filed in Coconino County, Arizona, that, on the surface, has nothing to do with the family's internal drama. Our sources have confirmed that a local contracting company, let's call them Coyote Ridge Builders, filed a suit against Brown Family Entertainment, LLC, the official corporate entity for the family, for non-payment related to preliminary survey and engineering work done on the Coyote Pass property. It was a standard business dispute. The contractors claimed they were owed over $100,000 for services rendered, and Kody, as the manager of the LLC, was refusing to pay. During the discovery phase of this lawsuit, the period where both sides are forced to exchange all relevant documents, emails, and financial records, the lawyers for Coyote Ridge Builders requested all contracts and financial statements related to the family's income in order to prove that the LLC had the funds to pay its bills. And that's when they found it, buried in years of financial data. the skeleton key, not one TLC contract, but two. This is where our exclusive insider report begins. We have spoken with a source, a former production accountant at TLC who was involved in the Brown family's contract renewal in 2016. For the purposes of this report, we will call her Brenda. Brenda left the network years ago and has been bound by a strict non-disclosure agreement. But after seeing the injustice of this situation bubble to the surface in this unrelated lawsuit, she has agreed to provide background information to explain the mechanics of what she calls the most audacious financial deception she ever witnessed in reality television. In a deposition for that civil suit, a deposition that is currently sealed but has been described to us in detail, Brenda laid out the entire scheme. In reality TV, especially with a large ensemble cast like the Browns, you typically have one master agreement. It's a talent agreement. The network pays the production company, and the production company pays the family's corporate entity. In this case, Brown Family Entertainment, LLC. From there, the family is supposed to split the money according to their own internal agreement. For the Browns, from day one, it was always understood to be a 5-way split for the adults. Kody, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn were the principals. The money went into one pot, and they all drew from it. That was the premise of the show, the premise of their family. And for the first 6 years of the show, that's largely how it worked. But according to Brenda, everything changed in 2016. The show's ratings were solid, a renewal was on the table, and Kody, as the legal representative and manager of the family LLC, went to Los Angeles to negotiate the new multi-season deal. He brought Robyn with him. None of the other wives were present. At the time, it was explained away as Kody being the patriarch and Robyn being, well, good with business, or simply his chosen travel companion. The other wives, busy with their own children and lives in Las Vegas, trusted him to negotiate on behalf of the entire family. After all, he was their husband, their business partner. His fiduciary duty was to act in the best financial interest of all of them, of the collective. But according to Brenda's testimony, Kody and Robyn didn't go to TLC with the family's best interest at heart. They went with a plan to financially sever themselves from the other 3 wives while still maintaining the illusion of a single unified family pot. Brenda explains that Kody, with legal counsel, pitched a radical new structure to the network. She was in the room when this was being finalized, and she says it raised red flags everywhere, but it was ultimately approved because it served the network's interests as well. Here's how the 2-contract trick worked. First, there was the talent agreement. This was the contract that everyone knew about. It was signed by Kody on behalf of Brown Family Entertainment, LLC. This agreement stipulated the per-episode fee for the talent: Kody, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn. This fee was a respectable but not astronomical amount. It was the salary that would continue to be deposited into the main family account, the one the OG wives could see. This was the contract that maintained the illusion of the status quo. If Janelle or Christine ever asked to see the books, they'd be shown the statements for this account, and it would all look above board. But then there was the second contract, the secret one. It was called a Production Services Agreement, or PSA. Brenda. A PSA is a standard tool in television, but not for this. Normally, a production company would use a PSA to hire a third-party vendor. For example, you'd have a PSA with a company that provides camera equipment, or a post-production house that does the editing. It's for services rendered to the production. What Kody and Robyn did was they created their own private secondary LLC. I remember the name DABSARK Entertainment. It's an acronym of their kids' names: Dayton, Aurora, Brianna, Solomon, Ariella, and Kody. Robyn was listed as the president, Kody as the CEO. Think about that for a moment. DABSARK, an LLC named only for the children of his 4th wife and himself. Not a single one of his other 13 children represented. This wasn't a family company. This was their company. So what production services were Kody and Robyn providing through this secret company that the other wives weren't? This is the twisted genius of the scheme. The contract stipulated that DABSARK Entertainment would be paid a massive, separate executive producer level fee for 2 very specific, very vague services: storyline development and exclusive access coordination. Let's break down what that means. Storyline development. Kody and Robyn argued to the network that Robyn, as the newest wife and the one who was often at the center of the family's drama and decision-making, was the primary narrative driver. They claimed she was doing the emotional labor and creative work of shaping the show's direction. She wasn't just living her life on camera, she was actively producing the family's story arc. Therefore, she and Kody deserved a producer's fee for this extra work. All those scenes where Robyn presented herself as the family therapist, the one carrying the emotional burden of plural marriage, the scenes that infuriated viewers who saw her as a master manipulator. According to this secret contract, she wasn't just being dramatic. She was, in a very real sense, working. She was fulfilling her contractual obligation to develop storylines, and she was getting paid a fortune for it, completely unbeknownst to her sister wives. The second service was even more insidious. Exclusive access coordination. Brenda. This was the real kicker. Kody argued that as the patriarch, he was the gatekeeper to the family's entire world. He controlled the access. He determined who the cameras could film with, when, and where. The PSA with DABSARK essentially paid him and Robyn a bonus, a massive access fee, for guaranteeing the cooperation of the other wives. He was being paid extra to deliver the participation of the very women he was financially betraying. It's sickening when you think about it. He was treating Meri, Janelle, and Christine as assets, as cattle to be wrangled for the show, and he and Robyn were collecting the fee for being the wranglers. So let's put it all together. The main family pot, the one everyone shared, got the basic talent fee, but Kody and Robyn's secret LLC, DABSARK Entertainment, received what amounted to a massive bonus or producer fee every single season. And we're not talking about a small amount. Sources familiar with the contract suggest this producer fee was, at minimum, equal to the entire family's talent fee, and in later seasons may have been substantially more. Effectively, Kody and Robyn doubled their income at least. They were getting their 1/5 share from the main family pot, plus 100% of the massive DABSARK Entertainment paycheck. This is how you can have one wife living in an RV while another is living in a mansion. The financial system was rigged from the inside. Once you know about the two-contract trick, you can never watch the show the same way again. The events of the past 7 years are cast in a chilling new light. Every argument about money, every decision that seemed illogical, suddenly makes perfect, horrifying sense. Let's start with the move from Las Vegas to Flagstaff in 2018. Remember how nonsensical that move seemed? They had 4 beautiful custom-built homes in a cul-de-sac. The kids were settled, they were financially stable. Kody's justification was a vague premonition, a desire for a different culture, the fear of a housing bubble bursting. It never added up. But let's re-examine it through the lens of this financial deception. In Las Vegas, their finances were intertwined and highly visible. 4 houses side by side. Shared expenses were obvious. It was a functioning communal system, but Flagstaff offered chaos. And in chaos, there is cover. By uprooting the family, Kody shattered their financial stability and cohesion. Suddenly, everyone was scrambling. They were bleeding money on rentals. The plan for Coyote Pass was a logistical and financial nightmare. This chaos created the perfect smokescreen for the DABSARK funds, while Janelle was pinching pennies to afford a rental. And Christine was feeling the squeeze. Kody and Robyn could use their secret income to purchase their massive home without having to justify it to the family. They could claim it was a good deal or a necessary rental that they had to buy, but the purchase was almost certainly made possible by the funds the other wives had no idea existed. And what about the constant, agonizing fight over the one big house on Coyote Pass? Kody sold it as his grand vision for a united family. But was it? Or was it a business decision? As the manager of Brown Family Entertainment, LLC, building one large structure would have given him ultimate control over the family's primary asset. It would have kept them all under one financial roof, making it harder for any one wife to build her own equity, her own wealth, her own escape plan. The wife's desire for separate homes wasn't just a preference for privacy, it was a subconscious fight for financial autonomy. They knew, instinctively, that their only path to security was to have a tangible asset in their own name. Christine's rejection of the one-house plan was the first step in her financial and emotional emancipation. This secret contract also reframes Robyn's role in the family. For years, she has been criticized for her tears, her victimhood, her constant need to be seen as the family's emotional glue. We all rolled our eyes. But what if we were watching a masterful performance, not just for the cameras, but for the network executives? She was demonstrating her value. She was proving she was the narrative driver. Every tear, every dramatic intervention, every therapy speak monologue was her justifying that secret paycheck. She was being paid to produce drama, and she delivered an Emmy-worthy performance season after season. She wasn't just Kody's favorite wife, she was his business partner, his co-conspirator. The most heartbreaking piece of this puzzle is what it means for the other women. Janelle, the pragmatic accountant of the family, was meticulously tracking the funds in the one pot she knew about. She was trying to make a flawed budget work, not realizing that a huge percentage of their total earnings was being diverted before she ever saw it. Her frustration and financial anxiety, culminating in her moving into an RV, wasn't a quirky lifestyle choice. It was a direct consequence of this alleged financial abuse. She was a partner in a multi-million-dollar corporation who was being forced to live like she was on the verge of bankruptcy. And Christine. Oh, Christine, the woman who told us her heart was breaking because Kody wouldn't be intimate with her, the woman who felt like the basement wife. Her emotional pain was real, but it was intrinsically tied to this financial betrayal. She knew she was being undervalued, that her contributions were being dismissed. She may not have known about the second contract, but she felt its effects every single day. The lack of respect, the dismissal of her needs, the prioritization of Robyn's every whim, it was all rooted in a business arrangement that designated her and the other wives as background, while Robyn was the star. The infamous fight over the money for Isabel's surgery now looks even more monstrous. Kody's refusal to travel, his insistence that Christine go into debt, it's unforgivable on its face. But when you consider that he and Robyn were allegedly sitting on a secret mountain of cash designated for storyline development, it becomes an act of profound cruelty. He had the money, the family had the money, but it was their money, not the family's. All of this, the insider testimony, the recontextualized scenes, paints a damning picture. But in a court of law, you need more than that. You need proof. A smoking gun, and according to our sources who have seen the discovery documents from the contractor lawsuit, the lawyers for Coyote Ridge Builders found it. In an email chain from 2016 between Kody Brown and his business attorney in Nevada, they discuss the structuring of the new TLC deal. The attorney raises a question about the complexity of the two-contract system, asking why they don't just increase the overall family talent fee and create an internal bonus structure for Robyn. Kody's alleged response, in an email dated October 17, 2016, is the single most damning piece of evidence in this entire affair. We have had the contents of this email read to us by two separate sources. Kody writes, and I quote, "I can't do that. The whole point is to avoid the pot. I need a way to properly incentivize the narrative driver of the family, Robyn, and reward her for the extra work she does for the show's success without having to split it with the others who are just background at this point. They bring the history, but she brings the story. This needs to be separate, clean, and private." Let's read that again. I need a way to incentivize the narrative driver of the family, Robyn, without having to split it with the others who are just background at this point. This needs to be separate, clean, and private. This is not a man acting in his family's best interest. This is a business manager who has a legal and fiduciary duty to his partners, Meri, Janelle, and Christine, admitting and writing to a conspiracy to defraud them. He reduces his other wives, the mothers of his children, the women who built this platform with him for years, to background. He openly states his intention is to create a private payment system to cut them out of money they are rightfully owed a share of. This email is the smoking gun. It is the proof of intent. It transforms the narrative from one of a dysfunctional family with a favorite wife into a calculated long-term case of corporate malfeasance and financial abuse. When this email was read into the record during a pretrial hearing for the contractor case, our sources say the room went silent. The judge, reportedly, was furious, not at the contractors, but at the clear evidence of fraud he saw within the Brown family's own business dealings. The lawsuit over a $100,000 contracting bill had suddenly morphed into a multi-million-dollar referendum on Kody Brown's role as the family's business leader. The judge realized that the financial documents provided by Kody were likely fraudulent, as they omitted the massive income stream from DABSARK Entertainment. He saw a man who had not only failed his partners, but had used his position of power to actively enrich himself, and one partner at the direct expense of the others. This email changed everything. It provided the legal justification for the judge to do something unprecedented. To pierce the corporate veil of Brown Family Entertainment and DABSARK Entertainment and force a full, unvarnished accounting of every single dollar TLC has paid them since 2016. The two-contract trick had been exposed, the secret was out, and the financial reckoning that was about to be ordered would be more devastating than Kody and Robyn could ever have imagined. The judge's ruling and the catastrophic financial fallout for the king and queen of Coyote Pass is what we will break down in the second half of this explosive report. The numbers are staggering, and the consequences will change this family and this show forever. We detailed how Kody and Robyn Brown allegedly created a secret LLC, DABSARK Entertainment, to funnel millions of dollars in producer fees from TLC directly into their own pockets, leaving the other wives, Meri, Janelle, and Christine, in the dark, struggling with the scraps from a deliberately diminished family pot. And we revealed the smoking gun, a 2016 email from Kody to his lawyer admitting his intent to create a separate, clean, and private payment structure for his narrative driver, Robyn, while dismissing his other wives as mere background. This email, uncovered in a completely unrelated lawsuit, was the key that unlocked the vault. But what it unleashed was not just a financial scandal, but a legal firestorm. The judge in the case didn't just see a business dispute anymore. He saw a profound, calculated betrayal. To understand the gravity of what happened next, we need to talk about a legal concept called fiduciary duty. It sounds complicated, but it's actually very simple. If you are entrusted to manage money or assets for other people, as a business partner, a financial advisor, or in Kody's case, as the managing partner of Brown Family Entertainment, LLC, you have a legal obligation, a sacred duty, to act in their best interest, not your own. You cannot self-deal. You cannot secretly profit at their expense. You must be transparent. Kody Brown, as the patriarch who demanded control of the family's finances, had this duty to Meri, Janelle, and Christine. That email wasn't just him being a jerk. It was a written confession to a massive breach of that duty. Our sources, who were privy to the pretrial hearings, described the scene when the contractor's lawyer presented the DABSARK contracts in Kody's email. The judge, a seasoned veteran of corporate law in Arizona, reportedly took off his glasses, rubbed his temples, and read the email on the monitor twice. The courtroom, which had been buzzing with the mundane details of a construction dispute, fell completely silent. According to one source, the judge looked directly at Kody's attorney and said something to the effect of, "Counselor, I came in here today to oversee a dispute about soil testing and survey lines. What you've just shown me, however, appears to be prima facie evidence of a conspiracy to commit corporate fraud against members of your client's own company. This is no longer just about your client's bill." The judge recognized that the case before him was just the tip of a very dirty iceberg. Kody's refusal to pay the contractor was likely not because the family LLC didn't have the money, but because the vast majority of the family's true income was hidden away in the DABSARK accounts. This is where the law gives a judge incredible power. It's called piercing the corporate veil. Normally, an LLC protects the owners from personal liability, but when you use that LLC to commit fraud, a judge can tear that protection away and go after the individuals and their personal assets directly, and that is precisely what he did. In an immediate ruling from the bench, the judge declared this a profound breach of fiduciary duty. He didn't just admonish Kody's lawyers, he took action. First, he issued a temporary injunction, immediately freezing all known assets of both Brown Family Entertainment, LLC, and the newly discovered DABSARK Entertainment, LLC. He also placed a temporary freeze on any personal bank accounts solely controlled by Kody and Robyn Brown that were suspected of receiving funds from these entities. This was an emergency measure to prevent them from moving or hiding any more money. Second, and most critically, he appointed an independent forensic accountant to conduct a complete and thorough audit of all TLC payments to any entity associated with the Brown family, going all the way back to the date of the secret contract in 2016. This was the ultimate nightmare for Kody and Robyn. Their private financial world was about to be dissected, piece by piece, by an expert whose only job was to follow the money. The court appointed a highly respected Phoenix-based forensic accountant. For our report, we'll call him Dr. Martin Glass, a composite of the experts we consulted to understand this process. Dr. Glass and his team were given subpoena power to access everything: TLC payment records, the incorporation documents for both LLCs, bank statements, credit card bills, wire transfers, everything. What they reportedly uncovered was a financial fairy tale for Kody and Robyn, built on a foundation of lies. The money trail, once illuminated, told the real story of the past 7 years. The total haul, the first major finding of the audit, was the staggering amount of money that had been diverted. While the main talent agreement paid the family LLC an estimated, let that sink in, for every $1 that went into the family pot for everyone to share, more than $2 went directly and secretly to Kody and Robyn. Where did the money go? The audit didn't just find the money, it tracked where it was spent, and the expenditures paint a portrait of a couple living a life completely separate from the family they claim to lead. Here are some of the most explosive findings from the audit report, as described to us. The $1 million mansion. The audit confirmed what fans have long suspected. The nearly $900,000 purchase of their Flagstaff home was not financed through the family pot. The down payment, a hefty sum of over $200,000, was wired directly from a DABSARK Entertainment bank account. Furthermore, the monthly mortgage payments were being paid automatically from this secret account. While Janelle was struggling with lot payments and Christine was pulling from her own savings, Kody and Robyn were using the diverted family income to build their own private real estate equity. The debt annihilator. The audit revealed a series of large lump sum payments made in the first year after the DABSARK contract was signed. These payments went to various credit card companies and lenders. One of the largest payments, nearly $80,000, was made to pay off the remaining balance on a line of credit associated with Robyn's previous business ventures and lingering debt from before she even married Kody. Essentially, Kody used the shared family income, money earned from the participation of Meri, Janelle, and Christine, to secretly wipe out his favorite wife's personal pre-existing debt. The Lifestyle Fund. The audit was a roadmap of Kody and Robyn's spending. There were tens of thousands of dollars spent on things the show never fully captured. The figurine collection. Over $60,000 in tracked payments to sellers of high-end porcelain dolls and Precious Moments figurines. That's not a hobby, that's an investment-level collection, funded by money that should have been available for Isabel's surgery. Kody's toys. The audit flagged the lease payments for Kody's flashy sports car and the purchase of a top-of-the-line ATV. These weren't family vehicles. They were Kody's personal indulgences, paid for by DABSARK. Secret vacations. While the show focused on tense family vacations, the audit uncovered several trips taken only by Kody, Robyn, and their children, paid for by the secret LLC. These included a first-class trip to Hawaii and a week-long stay at a luxury resort in Mexico. They were living a secret life of luxury while preaching about the financial sacrifices required for their plural family. The nanny. The salary for Robyn's nanny, a major point of contention on the show, was not a family expense. It was paid exclusively and consistently from the DABSARK account. This proves Christine and Janelle's outrage was completely justified. It wasn't a family resource, it was a private employee for Robyn, funded by the family's siphoned earnings. The contrast is criminal. The forensic accountant's report, our sources say, did something brilliant and devastating. It created a side-by-side timeline. On one side, it listed the expenditures from the DABSARK account. On the other hand, it listed key financial struggles the other wives were facing at the exact same time, as documented on the show and in their own financial records. Look at this. October 2020. On the left, a DABSARK account transfer of $22,000 to a high-end interior decorator for Robyn's home. On the right, Christine is on camera, launching an online fundraiser to help cover the copay for Isabel's spinal surgery. June 2021. On the left, the DABSARK account pays a $15,000 bill for custom landscaping and a new patio at Kody and Robyn's house. On the right, Janelle is filming herself, stressed and sweating, trying to hook up the sewer lines for the RV she was forced to live in on Coyote Pass. December 2019. On the left, a wire transfer of $40,000 from DABSARK to a private investment account in Kody Brown's name only. On the right, Meri is shown driving for hours to her B&B in Utah, explaining that she needs the income from that business to secure her own financial future because the family money is too tight. This timeline is more than just data, it's a story of profound betrayal. It's the irrefutable mathematical proof that Kody and Robyn weren't just favoring their own branch of the family, they were actively and secretly impoverishing the others to fund their own lavish lifestyle. This report, when submitted to the judge, left no room for interpretation. The two-contract trick was not a misunderstanding, it was a long con, and now it was time for the payback. With the forensic audit complete, the original lawsuit by the contractor became a footnote. The judge now had a clear picture of a massive internal fraud. His final judgment in the matter was a legal earthquake that will send shockwaves through the reality TV industry. The ruling, which we've described to us in detail, had three major components. First, the corporate veils are pierced and all income is pooled. The judge officially ruled that DABSARK Entertainment, LLC, was a fraudulent instrument, created with the express purpose of circumventing the financial agreement between the five principal partners of Brown Family Entertainment. He ordered that, for the purpose of this judgment, both LLCs were to be treated as a single entity. All income received from TLC since 2016, the $1.8 million from the talent agreement and the $4.2 million from the DABSARK production agreement, was to be retroactively declared as one single family pot. The total income to be redistributed? A staggering $6 million. Second, the original agreement is enforced. The judge looked back at the family's own stated business structure from before 2016. It was a five-way partnership between the adults, Kody, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn. Each was entitled to a 1/5 share of the family's primary income. The judge ruled that this original agreement was the only fair and legal way to divide the money. So, he did the math. The total pot of third, the clawback, and redistribution. This is where the hammer truly fell. The court calculated what each wife had actually received versus what they were owed. The audit showed that the main family pot, after expenses, had left the OG wives with a fraction of what they were due. The judgment ordered a clawback of all the money that was unjustly diverted. Here's the breakdown of the payback. Kody and Robyn had already received their combined share of $2.4 million, $2.4 million, $1.2 million each, but they had also taken the shares belonging to the other three petties. The total amount they had wrongfully diverted from Meri, Janelle, and Christine was $3.6 million. The judge ordered Kody and Robyn Brown, personally, to pay back that $3.6 million to the other three wives. That's $1.2 million each for Meri, Janelle, and Christine. On top of that, he added interest, calculated from the dates the payments were originally made. Legal experts estimate the interest alone could add another $500,000 or more to the judgment. And finally, he ordered that Kody and Robyn were personally liable for all legal fees in the case, including the fees for the contractor they had tried to stiff in the first place, and the massive bill for the forensic accountant. The final judgment against Kody and Robyn Brown is estimated to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $4.5 million. This is a financially apocalyptic event for them. This is not money they can pay out of pocket. To satisfy this judgment, the court placed an immediate lien on their $1 million home. Their bank accounts were seized, their investment accounts were frozen. Every asset they had acquired using the secret DABSARK funds was now on the table to be liquidated to pay back the women they had betrayed. The Queen and King of Coyote Pass were facing financial ruin. Their castle, built on a foundation of lies, was about to be repossessed. A judgment of this magnitude is more than just a financial transaction. It's a validation. It's a reckoning. And the fallout will extend far beyond Kody and Robyn's bank accounts. For Christine and Janelle, for these two women who have now left Kody, this judgment is the ultimate vindication. It confirms that the gut feeling they had for years, that they were being devalued, disrespected, and cheated, was not just an emotional response. It was a financial reality. A source close to Christine told us that when she heard the news, she didn't cheer. She apparently just took a deep breath and said, "Now it all makes sense." It was the final piece of the puzzle that explained years of gaslighting and neglect. This money will give her and Janelle something they haven't had in decades: complete financial independence. It is the seed money for their new lives, earned through years of putting their lives on camera, money that was stolen from them and is now finally being returned. It's the ultimate payback. For Meri, Meri's situation is more complex. As the first wife legally divorced from Kody so he could marry Robyn and adopt her children, she has endured years of emotional exile. This judgment validates her contribution. It forces Kody and Robyn to acknowledge through a multi-million-dollar payment that she was an equal partner in building the Sister Wives brand, even as they treated her as an outcast. This isn't just money for Meri, it's a receipt for her years of loyalty and pain. It remains to be seen how this will impact her perpetually complicated relationship with Kody and Robyn. But it's hard to imagine a path forward after a betrayal of this magnitude. For TLC and the show, this is a public relations nightmare for the network. The question everyone is asking is, what did TLC know and when did they know it? While our source, Brenda, maintained that the network executives didn't know the other wives were being kept in the dark, they did approve the two-contract structure. They were, at a minimum, negligent. They enabled the very mechanism that allowed this fraud to occur. Legal experts we've spoken to believe TLC could now be exposed to a massive lawsuit from the OG wives for facilitating this breach of fiduciary duty. The entire future of Sister Wives is now in jeopardy. How can you film a show about a family when the central premise has been revealed as a financial crime scene? The trust is not just broken, it has been obliterated by a court order. This revelation may be the final nail in the coffin for the long-running series. For Kody and Robyn, it's hard to overstate the devastation for them. They face financial ruin. They will likely lose their home. Their reputation is irrevocably destroyed. Kody is not just a failed patriarch in the eyes of the public. He is now a legally adjudicated fraudster who cheated his own family. And Robyn, the narrative driver, the producer, her carefully crafted image as the loyal, tearful wife, has been shattered. The audit revealed her as Kody's active co-conspirator. She was the president of DABSARK Entertainment. Her name was on the bank accounts. She spent the money. She is not a victim in this. She is a partner in the heist. Their private fairy tale, funded by deceit, has come to a crashing public end. For years, we have analyzed this family through the lens of faith, favoritism, and dysfunctional relationships. But we were missing the most important lens of all: money. This was never just about Kody falling out of love with his other wives. It wasn't just about a broken family culture. At its core, this was a story about greed. It was a long con, a calculated deception on a grand scale, designed to enrich two people at the expense of three others who had given their lives to the same cause. The story Kody and Robyn sold to the world was a lie, and now, thanks to a small-time lawsuit over an unpaid bill, the truth has finally come out in the most spectacular and devastating way possible. The Brown family, as we knew it, is over. Their reality TV careers are very likely finished. But the questions that remain are explosive. Will the OG wives pursue further legal action against TLC? Will Kody and Robyn have to declare bankruptcy? And most importantly, how does a family ever recover from a betrayal this deep? This goes beyond favoritism. It goes beyond drama. This is a story of justice, finally served. What do you think? Is this the end of the road for Kody and Robyn? Should TLC be held accountable for its role in this scheme? Let us know your unfiltered thoughts in the comments below. This story is still developing, and the fallout is just beginning. Thank you for joining us on COCO Gossip for this exclusive report. If you believe the truth needs to be exposed, please share this video with everyone you know who has followed this family's journey. Hit that like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe and ring that notification bell. We will be following every single development and will bring you updates as soon as they break. You won't want to miss what happens next.